Welcome to another beautiful day if I can talk today, and another day of Dose of Did You Know, where intriguing, inspiring, unique individuals come to talk love and life and how it has brought them to where they are today. And I have someone super cool I can't wait to talk to because my buddy Travis from Our School Mike Radio is like, Danny, you're going to love her. And I'm like, I can't wait. Today is finally the day. But Presley, how are you?
I'm doing pretty well. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. So before we get into, chatting, tell the world, who is Presley? Why would Danny Rocco be so excited to talk to you? Besides hearing that you're such a cool chickie.
Oh, thank you. Well, my name is Presley Tennant. I'm an 18-year-old singer-songwriter from Norco, California. I've been doing music since I was super young. Around 7 is when I first started singing. Later on, when I was around 10 to 13, I was in a girl group, and we were signed to different people like Britney Spears, the Jacksons, Kelly Rowland. Then the group kind of fizzled out, and I found myself still pursuing music, but in a solo career. And that led me to my journey on Team Kelly, on The Voice of season 16. And then after that, I took another step, and I am back to technically where my home is. I'm going back to country, and so I'm pursuing a country music career.
That is so cool. So I have like so many questions. First, how do you get when you're so young, how did that come about that you're in like this, like a girl band, and what was that like?
I will say, I never knew any, wow, can't talk, already messing up.
See, it's me. It's because I started it off that way. So.
I never knew that any of this, entertainment industry side or music industry even existed. I used to play soccer, my whole family does, and that was it. And I thought that was the end of the spectrum. Yeah. And so I started to take singing lessons, and I was introduced to these different singing competitions, and I entered in them. And then actually the mayor of one of the towns that's very close to me, she introduced me to this girl group because they were looking for somebody in that town. And so I auditioned. It's a funny story. I auditioned a few times, got cut, and I was like, okay. And then they kept bringing me back, and I was like, what is this? I was like, what is this? But
are we done after that?
I was a backup singer for them, and then I was in the group, but I wasn't. I was a fill-in, and I was like, all right, whatever. I'm doing whatever this takes me. I'm having fun. That's all that matters. I'm 10 years old at the time, so it's all a learning experience. No, but as soon as I started to perform with the group, I just fell in love with being on stage and doing music, and knew at that point that this is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
So if you come from an athletic family, because we as in me, just one person, come from an athletic family, as a professional ballerina. My brother is a gymnast, lived at the Olympic Training Center, all these things. I feel like there's an artistic side to it, It fell short with me. I did not get that talent, but my brother plays the trumpet, and his daughter has this voice. So did you just find yourself singing around the house, and your parents were like, oh, you sound good, maybe you should take lessons and develop that?
See, okay, my story that I like to tell is that I just yelled a lot. I was just a very loud, inside my own house. If I was outside, shy as can be. I was hiding behind my mom and everything. Yeah. But when I was inside the house, I would just yell. And so I was also the type of person that was if I want to do something, I'm going to do it. No one's going to stop me type of thing, in the nicest way possible. If I wanted to do gymnastics, my mom was like, okay, do a back bend. And I was terrified of doing a back bend. I've already tried before. And she's like, do a back bend and I'll put you in. And I was like, okay. And so I just did it. And then when I was 7, I wanted to take singing lessons. And so I called the lady myself and was like, hey, I'm Presley. I want to take singing lessons. Can you call my mom back? And my mom got a call the next day. I was like, your daughter is trying to set up singing lessons with strangers. That's not normal. Mom was like, well, she wanted to do it. So I don't know. It was just we just were putting me in just to make sure I'm not going to ruin my voice, I guess. Because there's a right and wrong way to sing, all in technique. So it just kind of worked out. And then I fell in love with singing. And
isn't that funny? Well, I think you have to be, that is a funny story. You have to be kind of driven and motivated to be in the position that you're in. Because if not, why else would you do it. It seems because it's work. It's a hard work, and it's putting yourself out there continuously. And sometimes, like you said, you were cut, you were this, you were that. So you have to have this, I feel like, this self motivation.
Yeah.
Like, to be able to get to where you are today, especially at such a young age.
Yeah. I mean, even like with the girl group, when they sent me home like the first time, I was like in the car crying the entire way home. And I was like, I didn't even know this whole thing existed. As soon as I like got to the process of like, oh, this is like an actual thing that people do, I was like, I want to do this. And so I went back, or I took lessons, and went to like Orange County and went to like this, I guess like little artist development camp. And it was like me and like a bunch of 10-year-olds, and it was super fun. We wrote songs, we had dance lessons, singing lessons. So I don't know, I just kind of, I wanted to like prove that like I could do this type of thing, even if I never was brought back to the group, just to like myself. I don't know, just like one of those things that like once I'm introduced to something, I want to like master it before I move on to the next thing.
Well, it looks like you are mastering. I have to give a big shout out. Michelle is out there, because Michelle Baxter introduced me, and this is how we are here today, today with you. So like now I want to go through how does that work, like on The Voice, the Kelly Clarkson and all that? Do you see like an ad or something that they put out to audition, and then you go? I have a terrible voice, so I'm kind of infatuated by this. I'm like, so I'm going to live through you in this like short little interview. So how did you do that?
So I guess it's different for each and every artist who are on the show. I have a bunch of friends that were started from the very beginning of like just the casting process, like the cattle calls, and like waited in lines forever, and then got to sing like 10 seconds of a song, and they were like, okay, you're good, you're not good, and then you move on to the next, or you don't move on.
Wait, stop. It's like 10 seconds. All you get is 10 seconds. So if you screw up in 10 seconds, you're like out.
Yeah, for the first couple rounds, I will say, for cattle call wise, because they have to get through thousands of people like within a day.
Yeah.
And then they have callbacks like the next day type of thing. I was very fortunate, and I got to do a private audition. So and it's not too far from my house. So I was up in LA, and I just went in, sang my song, and then I had to like wait a little bit. And I remember this, I was on a family trip, and I got the call, and I completely forgot about this audition that I did. I don't know. I've been told like once you do auditions, just like forget about it. Don't worry about it. Otherwise, you're just gonna keep dwelling on it. And so I was like on a family trip, and I got the call, and it was like, oh, like you've made it to the next round. And I was like, oh, okay, sounds good. And so it kind of kept going on and on from there. Did a few different auditions, and then finally I made it to the blind audition, and there was still a bunch of people. I think there was around 100 people, and that was the least amount.
That's a lot.
Yeah, and then it cuts down to 48 once you're on the actual show, when teams fill up. But it was a process, and I loved every single step of it. I learned so much, and I met some of the greatest people that I probably will ever meet. So very thankful.
Do you get nervous? Like, there's always a part where I feel like we say the word nervous, and people take it as a negative thing, but there is a good nervous, but it's that same feeling as like a not good nervous. But I feel like it's just preparing you. It's important. You want to do your best. So you're like, you're going to be on. What is it like for you? But I get that way like all the time, that like good nervous. Even if it's something I've done a million times, like every day before the show, I want to present the best. I want to, give my heart and soul. So I kind of get this like, okay, let's take this serious. This is the real deal. What is it like for you when you go through that? Because I'd be not having good nerves. I would be really scared.
I will say for me, when I first started singing, definitely had nerves all the time. And then it kind of just like faded away, because once you go on stage, at least for me, like I obviously have a few still, and I guess it's not really nerves, but more adrenaline. Just like the excitement of like, oh, I'm getting to perform. But I will say, like, for The Voice, I was there an entire month beforehand for my blind audition, for like rehearsals and things like that, and wardrobe. Wasn't nervous at all. And people were like freaking out, and I was like, why are we all freaking out? This is fun. Like, let's just take our time with this. And then I was like, as soon as I got to the actual day, was not nervous, wasn't anything. And as soon as I was about to walk on stage and like the doors open for you to walk out, it like hit me and I felt like my knees start to buckle and I was like, oh shoot, this is bad. And so I walked up, I sang like, I remember my first note, I was so scared. And then as soon as Kelly turned around, all the nerves just vanished and I was like, okay, I can relax now. I know I'm on the show at this point.
Yeah.
And then whoever else, if anyone else turns around, then it's a shoo-in. So I'm already in at this point. I can relax and be comfortable.
And like enjoy, take everything in that moment because the kind of the pressure is off. So what did you sing before? You said you're going back to your roots. Like what did you have a style before? Now you're kind of moving back into country, or tell me about that.
So my hometown is Norco, which is Horsetown, USA, where the streets are painted red, white, and blue. If you go to Starbucks, you're going to be seeing people on horses in the drive-thru.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I love it out here. And so I always kind of started with country. Country is like my hometown like sound, I guess. When I was younger, I sang Carrie Underwood, Martina McBride, anybody that you can kind of think of, female powerhousey. And then once I was in the girl group, it switched over to pop. And then I kind of stuck with pop because that's what I fell in love with. What I fell in love with at the time. And I continued on with that. And then when I came off The Voice, I kind of was introduced again to country and like not the lifestyle, but like the feel and like the emotion behind everything. I feel like with country, everything is more song-telling or storytelling, and very homegrown and very wholesome kind of feel. And I feel like within pop, it wasn't who I was anymore. Before the show, like when I'd go in to record songs, I'd come out and I'd be like, this isn't me. This isn't who I want to be. I feel like I'm trying to be something that I'm not. And so with country, I feel like I'm able to be exactly who I want to be, and who I am, and feel very comfortable. And I don't have to like rush to grow up. I mean, I'm 18 and I'm very mature for my age. I get that a lot. Like sometimes my mom's like, you're like a 40-year-old woman. I was like, oh, cool. I'll take it as a compliment though. And so it's like, I don't know. I'm not forced to grow up and be something that I'm not.
Yeah, I kind of like that. Isn't that true? Like you have to go through those experiences, like doing the pop and everything like that. And was it one of those when you said it just did you not have words really, but it was more of emotion when you walked out and you're like, that was fun and I'm doing what I love, but you didn't feel like that connection. But you're probably you're still so young. I mean, you really didn't know what that feeling, I would not know what that feeling was. I would just know like, maybe something else is coming my way, but I'm still enjoying it. Was it kind of like that? Like,
I feel like for me, it got to the point where I was like, this isn't just like sitting with who I was. And I have to go through those things to figure out who I am as an artist. I'm growing up. I'm not only as an artist, but like as a young woman and things like that. I'm still trying to figure out who I am. I feel like I was kind of not forced, obviously not forced, but I had a mature, very like, tongue-tied. Faster than a lot of kids. Like I was homeschooled, so I could go perform and I could be in rehearsals. I could do all those things. So I kind of not missed out, but like I had to fast forward everything. And at the same time, those are like the years where you like really figure out who you are, and that's like what shapes you. But I'm also very grateful for the experiences that I did have in rehearsal because that's what made me like who I am today.
Yeah. It's just non-traditional, right? It's the same with athletes and someone that's super, super talented in the athletic world. You make these adjustments to be able to foster and highlight and grow the gifts that like God gave you. So it's a non-traditional, so you grow in a different pattern than the regular society might grow. But it really does create this unique individual. That's why there's a 1%. That's why there's a 1%. And you're in that small percentage of 18-year-olds that have gone through and achieved what you've achieved.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, cool, you have to, because at that same time, it's all of these other people are going to look up for you. You're forging a path for other individuals that have these dreams and these gifts inside them.
Yeah.
So with that takes great responsibility. What is that, the Spider-Man, you know? Yeah, but no, you can't take it back. It does. It's a growing up. I always say, not in a negative way, like you said. It's just different than what the norm of society is. That's, again, why you're in that small percentage of people up there. So now, like, you're 18, and do you still live in, where are you, like, where do you live?
I'm still in Norco.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm kind of bouncing back and forth between here and Nashville. I'm out there quite frequently. I'm going out there in I think a week and a half, 2 weeks. And I'm out there pretty often. So I'm super grateful for that. I have family out there, so it's nice to go see them, and I stay with them, and it's really nice.
Yeah, you're trying. And what do you have that's new and coming up? Like, is there something new and coming up? Actually, take that back a second. What did you do? What was life before COVID, and then how did it affect you when you like translate through that? Because I'm curious. I'm just being nosy now. I want to know.
I will say, life before COVID, I was performing all the time in the studio. I will say that, like, for the most part, I was performing like all the time at different country events near my hometown. There was a thing called Boots in the Park, and we had there was a bunch of different country artists that would come and perform, and so I was able to open up for them. And then it led me to different country festivals, like Country Freedom Festival in Huntington Beach, and that was by far the coolest thing ever. I got to like sing right before Tim McGraw, Chase Rice, and Jake Owens. That was cool. Oh my gosh, yeah. And then there's even one, it's called like what is it? The Subaru Freedom or Subaru Country Festival or something like that.
Okay, yeah.
In San Pedro and then in Lake Havasu, and I got to perform for like John Michael Montgomery, Cody Johnson, all those types of people. Insane. My mind was blown, and I was so.
Yeah. Are you like in that area? Do you talk with them? Do you walk by them? Like
it's. I feel like everyone's kind of doing their own thing, but there's definitely moments where everyone kind of comes together and just like hangs out, which is really cool.
That's really cool.
It's awesome. But I will say, once COVID hit, it was like a complete switch. I was doing nothing, could not do anything, and no one really knew the reality of like how big this is actually going to be.
Right.
And so I remember for like months, my family also was like very like quarantined, like you're not leaving the house for anything. So, like, I had to like stop by and like sit out my driveway, and I'm like sitting on the roof talking to them. It was a great time. And then all of a sudden it kind of got lifted, but not very much. Now like restaurants and stuff are open, so we go out a little bit, but other than that, just been going to Nashville. Nashville's a little more open than California.
Yeah.
So it's nice going out there because it's a little sense of normalcy.
Yeah.
But also still being safe, wearing masks, social distancing. But I don't know. It's definitely a switch from going to normal concerts and performing there to like live streams and virtual concerts. I don't know. It's the same feeling, but also at the same time, it's not the same atmosphere. So it doesn't feel like it's very similar, even though they are concerts.
Yeah, I would feel you're not getting that energy from the crowd, which must it has a lot to do with what you're doing. It's a whole energetic, like something you feel, right? And when you cut that out, it's kind of like, yeah, you're doing the same thing, but you don't feel that. I would feel it would be different.
It's like the atmosphere is like shifted. Like, I don't know, you're able to see the responses from the crowd, like after a certain song, or like, I don't know, I'm one of the people that's like obsessed with guitar riffs and stuff like that. So like when a cool guitar riff goes off, I'm like yelling and screaming. Those types of things like that you can't get through like a virtual concert. Like if either you're live streaming and it's like just you and like people can only comment, and it's like when they applause, it's just like the clapping.
The hands.
I'm like, thank you. This is not the same. It's not the same as like actually hearing it type of thing, or like just the feeling of like being with a band on stage and having like the chemistry and the connection with everybody, and we all bounce off each other's energy. I think that's the coolest thing ever, and so that has taken a step back a little bit from COVID, but hopefully it's all done with, and at least settling down soon.
Yeah. Eventually life will get back to normal. Like we can't live in bubbles our whole entire life. Like then existence will no longer be there. But did you find that when you were in COVID that did you get a feel of what like regular people have to like, or, people that aren't traveling all the time and performing, like a lot of people your age, 18-year-olds, are just sitting on their butts watching TV and eating popcorn or whatever you guys eat. I don't know. But that's like the normal. If I look at my kids, I'm like, yeah, that's kind of what they do. So
I will say,
enjoy it, or was it boring?
I'm a busybody. I love being busy. I love doing things. Like even throughout quarantine or COVID, like the beginning when everyone was quarantined, I could not sit at home. I felt like I was like losing my mind. I was like, Mom, I need to get out of here. I'm like shaking right now. This sucks. So I would like just go on a drive, or I'd just drive around. I'd go to the beach and drive down like PCH and stuff like that, just to like get some scenery and get some like a little bit of like fresh air. And so it kind of made me take a step back and just relax. Like, I don't know. I just took a step back from everything, and it was kind of like a realization moment of like, oh, wow, I've been going very fast, and thankful to have taken a step back, but also not in these circumstances. Obviously, we don't want to. But also during that time, I felt like I learned a lot about myself as an artist and things like that, and where I wanted to be. So even though it was like a taking a step back from like performing and things like that, when I would have been growing in a different way, I'm growing internally versus just like understanding my craft, which I'm thankful for. But I don't know, it's very different. Even like after high school ended, because I went back and I was at a performing arts high school, and then I didn't realize like that was going to be my last day of senior year, and I was like, I kind of took this for granted. Even performing, I was like, I really took this for granted. And I feel like that's so cheesy, but you know how everyone says, like, do something like it's your last time. But it's like you have to live your life that way. And that's one thing that I will definitely remember for the rest of my time performing.
Yeah, well, it was a great life lesson. One of the biggest challenges adults have is creating balance and finding balance. And they usually find it much later than 18 years old, of how you go, and you're living your life. You're creating these careers and doing all of these things. And then something happens and you're kind of just in this robotic place, and you're not really living. You're just moving through these processes. So when you're forced to like be still, it's a gift, because that now you've learned at a very young age, like, being still does not actually mean stopping in momentum. It means growth in a different way. And without that stillness, you can't fully grow to your fullest capability in your craft and your emotions in any aspect of your life. So keep applying that stillness throughout your balance. And you've learned a lesson that some people never learn.
Nope. It's been a learning lesson, but I'm also thankful for everything that I have learned throughout that time.
Yeah. For sure. So time like flew by. I'm like, thank goodness I have a little timer here, or I would just keep talking and people would be like, stop. So before I let you go, I ask that you answer this last question with the first thing that comes to your mind. You don't need to give an explanation. You can, but you don't have to. But whatever pops into your heart. In this moment right now, Presley, what does love mean to you?
Being happy. I feel like that's so cheesy, but I feel like that is just what it is.
Yeah. And you said that like that, so that was definitely on your heart for sure.
Yep.
Well, thank you for sharing a little bit about who you are and how you love and how you live and how it brought you to where you are today. You are an inspiration. You are a leader. So just stay grounded and stay pure, and keep going. And we'll see. I know you have before I go, you have like a new single or something coming out, right?
January 15th. The song is called It's Always You, and I'm super excited for everyone to hear it.
Yeah, that is right around the corner. That's like next Friday or something like that. Or it's close. It's very close.
It's the 6th today, so we have 7 days.
7 days, so a week. So the countdown has begun. That'll be exciting to get. I can't wait to grab that on the 15th.
I said 7. I think it's 8. My brain is not. It's too early for this.
I don't even know. I was like going with it. I'm like, yeah, it is. I don't know.
But yep, super excited about that.
Yeah. Dates, time, not my strong point here. I'll just agree with you. But, so thank you so much. And for everybody else out there that is watching, there's so many comments coming in. You are really, like, how you think and feel are really inspirational. And to everyone else out there, remember, as always, love hard, love pure, and love proactive. Until next time, we will see you. I think we will see you if my computer works. Take care. Bye-bye.